Yes, and we're going to call this meeting to order.
I just turned on over there. I'm gonna flip the lights. I have the wrong one on. Sorry, everybody, watch our eyeballs.
Okay,
There we go.
all right.
There.
I don't know if that's better or worse. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. Would you please stand now for the national anthem? All right, our first motion is moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that the agenda for the regular meeting of council to be held May 26, 2026 be approved as amended to include an additional closed session item under section 19 regarding litigation and potential litigation, report number 114, 2026, bylaw activity report for May under section 12, and nominations and appointments to the Oso Recreation Committee and the Charlotte Lake Washroom Committee under section 13. So some additions to the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Is there any disclosure pecuniary interest in general nature thereof of any item on tonight's agenda by any member of council? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I declare a potential deemed direct or indirect pecuniary interest on the council committee agenda dated today. Item closed session, item 2.1, fence repair, as my family's involved.
Okay, we'll note that. You've got the paperwork. Cindy?
I declare on item D12, I received a cash payment from the township for the Heritage Festival. So I have that one.
Oh, okay. You don't really have to declare those. Those are just regular. Okay, you're being good. All right, for now. All right, our next motion is approval of the minutes, moved by Dan Meeks, seconded by Philip Smith, that the minutes from the regular meeting of council held on May 12th, 2026 be approved as presented. Any amendments or questions? All those in favor? Carried. Mayor's remarks. We do have a few of those. And before I start, we've had 3 locals pass away this week. So our condolences go out to all of the families. Okay, please be advised that Andy Dillon, our chief building official, has submitted his resignation and it's effective June the 2nd. We will be holding a barbecue celebration for Andy on June the 2nd at the township office here. Staff and council are invited to stop by and wish him well. While we work through the recruitment and appointment process for a new CBO, Dawn Reed, CBO for the Township of North Frontenac, will be providing coverage. And we talked about Andy will give us a list of all of the things that he has started and where he's at with those to help with the transition. Frontenac Business Service Annual Meeting Invitation. It's Tuesday, June the 16th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Grace Hall in Sydenham. And the next one is the Central Frontenac website has been updated. We encourage residents to take a look and explore the new layout and features. I hope it's better than the last one because I did not like the last one at all. I'll be checking it out. Yeah. We are still working through the updates to ensure information is easy to access, organized, and available for everyone. And thank you for your patience as we continue improving the site and adding content. And I think all of us, as we go through it, feel free to let Chris know if there's questions or comments about how we can make it better. Okay, does anyone else have anything? Cindy?
I would just like to let everyone know that Gary Smith, who served on council back up to, I think, 2014, passed away. And
Yes.
Gary was very well received in the community. He was an ambassador for Russia to the government when he was doing his real job, sort of thing. And his service will be June 12th in Perth.
Okay,
Okay.
good. Anything else from anyone? Okay. If not, we're going to move to delegations. And we have with us tonight Steve Pegram, Chair of the OPP Detachment Board, with an annual update. Welcome to the table, Steve.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council and township staff. As chair of the Frontenac OPP Detachment Board, I am pleased to present to you the board's 2026 annual report. Section 68(1)(f) of the Community Safety and Policing Act requires that the detachment board presents its annual report to each member municipality and band council by June 30th. Next slide, please. The composition of the board remains the same as it was last year, with one exception. Fred Fowler replaced Stephanie Regent as a municipal representative for North Frontenac. The council representatives from each municipality have been listed, as are our community representatives, provincial appointee, and the representative of the Chabot-Abajiwan First Nation. As noted on the slide, the second provincial appointee position remains vacant. There are a number of similar vacancies throughout the province, and at the present time, I have no timeline to provide for when that position will be filled. Next slide, please. Broadly, Section 68 of the Act defines the roles and responsibilities of the detachment board. These areas are depicted on the slide. Next slide, please. Based on the defined roles and responsibilities, the board established the noted priorities to complete during 2025 and the first part of 2026. As with any new body, a significant portion of the board's time this past year was dedicated to establishing and formalizing the board's policies, procedures, and bylaws. As a result of this work, the board now finds itself in a good position in terms of legislative compliance. Next slide, please. As noted, a board priority was to establish its annual budget. The detachment board requires adequate funding to meet its requirements, to meet the requirements of the Act and its regulations. An arbitration process is available in circumstances where a municipality and the board cannot come to an agreement on the budget request. As noted on this slide, the board's budget of $50,300 this year is the same as it was for 2025. At year's end, the 2025 budget had a surplus of $3,785.29, which has been dedicated to a reserve fund. As I advised last year, this reserve fund can continue to build to a maximum of 50% of the annual budget. The purpose of this fund is to cover unanticipated expenses such as legal fees. To provide you with some perspective on the Frontenac OPP Detachment Board's budget, I will provide you with the following information. For 25-26, OPP Detachment Board budgets ranged from a low of $44,000 to more than $107,000. Our board's largest budget costs are listed in the final bullet point of this slide. While the board is still in its infancy, we are beginning to get a better understanding of our ongoing expenses, and at the present time, I do not foresee any budget increases. Next slide, please. In an effort for transparency and to assist the public in accessing information, the Detachment Board website was created. The links and information available on the site are listed on this slide. The cost associated with creating and maintaining a standalone website for the board was excessive, more than $20,000. Accordingly, a decision was made to house a separate link to the detachment board on the South Frontenac website. Both North and Central Frontenac link to this site for the detachment board. By simply querying the board's name, the user is taken to a separate page on the South Frontenac site that provides access to the information listed. Next slide, please. During 2025, the board worked with the detachment commander to prepare the 2026 to 2029 local action plan. This document outlines high-level view of how adequate and effective policing will be provided to the area the detachment serves in accordance with the needs of the local population and having with regard to the area's diversity. The action plan outlines the objectives and priorities for the detachment, along with quantitative and qualitative measures to help ensure these objectives and priorities are met. There are three broad main areas of focus on which the objectives and priorities are based. These are crime, roadways, waterways, and trails, and community well-being. Each main area is then broken down into commitments, what will be done, actions, how it will be accomplished, and the desired outcomes, which are the quantitative and qualitative measures. For the purposes of this presentation, I will provide you with a couple of examples taken from this document. Before doing so, however, please note that the action plan submission is still in its final approval stages at the OPP command level. I anticipate that this document will be approved in the near future and will be forwarded to you accordingly. Under the area of crime, the commitment is to reduce and prevent crimes against persons while increasing the support for victims, particularly those affected by intimate partner violence. The actions work alongside community partners to provide educational sessions on intimate partner violence awareness within our communities, provide enhanced training for frontline officers on intimate partner violence with a focus on creating an intimate partner violence unit, seek additional funding opportunities for our victim advocate program, and the desired outcomes, detachment abuse issue investigators can provide investigative support to frontline officers, thereby ensuring our victims are afforded the support and resources necessary. An increased number of victims supported and an increased time spent with victims. Under roadways, waterways, and trails, the commitment, proactive enforcement and visibility in our detachment area, continuing to focus on the causal factors of collisions, these being speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving, and seatbelt violations. Target local trends in traffic safety and enforcement. The actions are track hotspot areas with support of the municipalities and conduct targeted enforcement in those areas. Make proactive enforcement part of the regular patrol day. Outcomes, increased number of data-driven patrols and initiatives based on analysis and community input, resulting in positive traffic safety outcomes. Next slide, please. This final slide provides you with some high-level, noteworthy statistics from the past year. While I'm always cautious not to read too much into statistical reports, they can provide us with a view of trends over time. The board will continue to monitor the increase in calls for service and its potential impact on staffing levels. Year over year, the increase was a modest 1.2%. So the increase that you see on that slide compared to the 5-year average may have been due to the impacts related to the pandemic. The number of traffic fatalities occurring is stable compared to recent years, although with relatively low numbers, we all know that one multiple fatality collision can significantly impact this trend. I think the most notable is the decrease in non-fatal and property damage collisions. This could be related to the noted increase in the number of charges for speeding, distracted driving, and seatbelt infractions, and the subsequent deterrent effects that this might have. Enforcement levels have also increased in both criminal code and provincial statute areas. And just for slide clarity, criminal code charges increased by 9%, and statute charges increased by 65%. And you will note that there is a reduction in the number of reported property crimes. You have no doubt heard in the media about the charges laid against some police members in larger urban centers. It is as a direct result of these issues that the Inspector General of Policing has announced a province-wide inspection focused on police integrity and anti-corruption practices across the province. This inspection will examine both police services and police service boards and will assess current practices, identify risks, and support improvements across the policing and governance framework. At present, I am unable to provide any information on the timing of when this inspection will involve the OPP and our board. I have and will continue to provide each of our municipalities with the full details of the inspection scope, terms of reference, and other pertinent information as it becomes available. I trust this presentation has provided you with an appropriate high-level overview of the Detachment Board's work over the past year. I believe there has been significant progress in ensuring that we are operating in full compliance with the legislation. Our 4-year action plan is focused on addressing community needs and any identified trends that will help ensure continued community safety. Thank you very much, and I would be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? I have one question about appointments. Are they 4-year terms or indefinite? I'm just thinking with elections and what happens there.
Yeah, there's always a period of flux with the elections. The appointments are 4 years. The election of the chair and the vice chair occur annually.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Glad you're doing this very, very important work.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
We have a motion that's moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Bill Everett, that council receive the presentation from Steve Pegram, Chair of the OPP Detachment Board, regarding the annual update for information. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. We'll see you next year. Okay, consent agenda, moved by Lynn Clegis, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that items A and B are accepted for information as they are considered routine. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. No deferred items, so we are at staff reports. And first is Central Frontenac Fire Rescue Services May Activity Report.
And he's online.
And Chris is online. Moved by Dan Meeks, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council received the Central Frontenac Fire Rescue Activity Report dated May 26, 2026, as prepared by the Fire Services Department. Hi, Chris. Any questions or comments for Chris? Lots of facts and numbers. All right, all those in favor? Carried. And that's it for you. And now we have Michael at the table. Moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Philip Smith, that council receives for information the report prepared by the Manager of Financial Services entitled Budget Policy, and that council provides feedback by June 10th, 2026, and further that council directs the Manager of Financial Services to bring back a budget policy for final review and consideration. Do you want to speak to this, Michael, before we start?
May, Madam Mayor, thank you. I realize that in an election year, I would be asking for direction from the current mayor, whether they're re-elected or not. But majority of the work in the budget's going to be the same. They may have to shift, but most of the work would be done by department heads at that point, and then we can just do that shift with minimal interruption later. So there's a little bit of difference in time, but of course, we're not allowed to approve a budget in an election year until that next year.
Because I did see a date of September 2026 for the mayor to start working on the budget. But
Correct. So
you don't want the old mayor doing budgets for the new mayor.
in a sense, yes, but at that point, I'm just looking for direction from the current
The
mayor.
direction is keep it as low as possible.
And that may be, but I can still present the challenges and whatnot that the departments give me, and then you give me advice, and then I go to whoever.
Now, would that be different if we were lame duck?
I don't know that answer 100%, Madam Mayor, sorry.
Bill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Correct me if I'm wrong. That September date 26 is for 27's budget.
Yeah,
That's the next round. So that's,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't understand really why myself would be working on a budget that the new mayor will be presenting and working on. It kind of seems like it's double duty. It
Yeah.
says September, I'm supposed to be doing something on
So
the budget.
that is just giving me and department heads direction. We're actually not working with the budget with the mayor until in January,
Oh, okay.
January 6th.
So that
2027.
September date is your date.
Correct.
Okay.
And then
good.
department heads will work on it over the next couple months after that.
Perfect. Good. I did one budget. I don't want to do another one. Not that it's a bad thing, ladies, whoever's running.
But keeping in mind, Madam Mayor, if I can, that right now I'm just looking for direction or input from council for any suggestions or whatever, and then I would bring that back. So if one of the suggestions was simply to wait until the new mayor comes in, we can do that. But I think staff would still do as much preparation as we could before we sit down with the mayor.
Okay. And you want that by June the 10th?
Yes, please.
Okay. Bill,
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Michael.
pull
In the
it down,
situation,
pull that down, Bill. and talk.
sure. This year, we're probably going to be in a lame duck situation
We don't know.
later on, depending on how many people decide that they want to run again, of course.
We'll know in August.
We'll know in August.
Mhm.
And so is that going to have any effect on this budgeting process? Because you might have new people coming in here with a different agenda. Thank-
Through Madam Mayor, Councillor McDonald, any change has an impact. Obviously, there's an education for any new councillors that come in. We would do it as slow or as fast as we can to make sure everybody's on board. But in terms of, again, direction, I don't know that lame duck would impact that.
Okay. All right. So all those in favor of giving direction by June 10th? Carried. All right. Moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council receive the updated procurement policy, which incorporates the requirements of the Buy Ontario Act as prepared by the Manager of Financial Services for information, and further that council consider amending the procurement policy bylaw later in the meeting through the adoption of the updated schedules A and B as presented. So you can give us the Coles notes of what this actually means to procuring stuff.
So this has been a learning experience, a learning opportunity, and it will continue to be, I believe. I have added in the definitions into the procurement policy, and I've increased the open competition minimum from 50 to 75,000 because of the cost of living increase to keep the authority levels about the same, and to hopefully avoid a situation where when we're looking for a vehicle, a tier 1 or tier 2 does not submit. I really don't want to get into that situation where you're open competition, then we have to invite some people in. I don't like the optics of that. So that's why I increased it to 75 as well. I guess what I wanted to give with those two examples that were given to us on that Supply Ontario session was it is supporting local. It may result in us paying more. The example that I gave was $500,000 more that was given to us, but I don't think in our reality it would be potentially a couple $100,000 more to support Ontario or Canadian made. There's a lot of administration time that's gone through with this, the complexity that's added, and that's why I sent out that other information sheet because other treasurers put it quite nicely. It's a lot.
Do you think it's here to stay?
I do. I've seen another treasurer put a whole different booklet out by Ontario Act, whereas I initially was thinking it would not go anywhere, so that's why I embedded the definitions inside of it. I did not, the mayor, I'll say honestly, listened to me the other day with my challenges with the Buy Ontario Act. And so that's why I did not put the other flow chart in here to council right now to not confuse. Anybody wants to see it, they can come and go through the maze with me. But I think that laid out, I went through it with another treasurer and that helped a lot to go through it. But every time you look at it, it's like, okay, are we hitting this? Are we hitting that right? And so I just want to make sure our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. It's a good challenge.
Okay. All right. Any further questions or comments? All those sorry, Susan?
I just want to say thank you through Madam Mayor to Michael for your work on this and for that additional information. It is quite the challenge and the need to comply or face penalties.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Through Madam Mayor, Councillor Irwin, thank you for that mention, because that was one thing I did put in the report. And you'll find, I think, with me, I put it in the report because I don't want to forget to say it. And it's important enough for you guys to know that it could impact our funding, right? It could cost us more money, but it could impact the funding. And thank you for the compliment. It's an ongoing process. I went through it with the Public Works Manager today and the admin assistant on the Mountain Grove Road example, and it's complex.
Yes, Bill.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Michael. Michael, is there anybody in this process that the province has recognized that this was probably going to cost more in the final analysis? Did they indicate in any way, shape, or form that that might be reflected in the transfer payments in our municipal transfers?
Through Madam Mayor, Councillor McDonald, they gave us that example of the $500,000 that I used. So they're well aware it could cost us more money. I do believe I understand their intent, but I believe that's where I've always urged councillors to, when you're talking to the right people, to make that exact comment to hopefully offset it for the smaller municipalities who, again, I don't want to use the word whining, but I just did, in terms of the resources that we have to apply these different directions.
We only have so many people to spread the cost around to. Okay, all right. No one else? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. And now we have moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council receive the accounts payable report in the amount of $1,199,294,008 as prepared by the Manager of Financial Services for information. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Council. Have a good night.
Yes, now we are at a road closing. Moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that council approve in principle the recommendation of the planning coordinator to close and convey part of PIN 36-225-05117 and PIN 36-22-50518 located in front of lands municipally known as 1441 Williams Lane and forming part of the shoreline road allowance along Leggett Lake. And that council authorized staff to proceed to a public meeting to receive resident input on the proposed closure. Discussion? Bill?
I don't know who I was going to answer this question, but if you look at the map that was presented to us, it's actually creating, that concession goes straight across. Well, I assume that's southeast or something, but it's creating another little piece over on the far side there. Is that going to end up as a separate?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Abby's not here this evening to answer that question, but certainly we'll find out and let you know.
Yeah, this is just the beginning, right? We're going to hear to
Well,
have
yes,
a public
and I
meeting.
think the other thing too is that we do not have any shoreline road allowances along our lakes. North Frontenac does, but we don't in Central.
That band they have, there was a name for it.
Just a road allowance or something.
Yeah. Bill?
Yeah.
This one right here.
little crazy.
Yeah. Mhm.
I feel like it might be.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, we'll get more information.
Yeah. Did we not have a policy somewhere where we would not close a concession that went to water?
No.
This is quite different. There's
Okay.
a long story to this one.
Yes.
It does. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. And moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council approve updated meal allowance rates for staff and members of council when traveling on authorized township business as follows. Breakfast $20, lunch $25, dinner $45, and that the updated rates take effective immediately, and that staff be directed to update the applicable expense claims forms to reflect the revised meal allowance rates. I think it's been a lot of years since we've put this up. Questions, comments? Bill?
You, Madam Mayor, I see the meal allowance, but given the cost of fuel today, was there any consideration for the per diem per kilometer?
There's Michael.
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor McDonald, we passed a policy, I'm going to say a couple of years ago, that we're reflecting the CRA rate, and every year we update it for that. So it's 73 cents right now per
73.
kilometer, and so then it will be updated reflecting this year's actions or
It'll
transactions.
go up next year when gas goes down. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. All right, moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Bill McDonald, that council approve the establishment of the Joint Frontenac Compliance Audit Committee for the term beginning November the 15th, 2026 and ending November the 14th, 2030. And that the following individuals be appointed to the Joint Frontenac Compliance Audit Committee: Elida Moffat, Sam Araj, and Wayne Robinson. And that the township continue to participate collaboratively with the townships of South Frontenac, North Frontenac, Frontenac Islands, the Limestone District School Board, and the Algonquin Lake Catholic School District School Board in the administration of the Joint Frontenac Compliance Audit Committee. And that the associated bylaw be presented later in the meeting for consideration. Discussion. Lynn.
I'm just curious about where these three people reside. Like, are they, I recognize the name Wayne Robinson, but,
And Sam is Seed's accounting
He's the
here.
accountant.
oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Moffat is, probably
South
South.
Frontenac.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
okay. All right, all those in favor? Carried. And moved by Lynn Clegg, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that council approve in principle the further investigation into the potential stopping up and closure of Gibbs Road, and that staff report back to council with additional information, legal considerations, process requirements, and any associated costs prior to any final decision being considered. And the background on that was very good. Google Maps will take you down some of the craziest roads. And I think that's what happens with Gibbs Road. Scott Road is another, yes. I think we'll be dealing with it a little later as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a few of them. All right, question, Philip?
It's more of a comment, Madam Mayor. Just
Okay,
our property abuts one of these roads, and I just want to make sure staff is aware that we talk to all of the owners, although there may be one or two owners that say they're okay with whatever just make sure we talk to all of them, because the road could get used for different purposes that we might not be aware of. So
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, Dan?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. In this situation, both sides of the road are owned by the same person.
Okay, that makes it a lot easier. Yep, Bill?
Another consideration is that our provincial road grants are based on the miles of roads that we actually have. And I'm just wondering if we stop up and close and reconvey, will it affect our provincial funding? That's all to be considered.
I don't think it's based on roads anymore. I don't know what it's based on, but it's not to help roads. It's to help everything. Anyway, all those in favor? Carried. All right, moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council approve entering into a sewage system management agreement with the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority for the completion of 100 septic inspections under the mandatory septic reinspection program for 2026, and that council authorize the mayor and CEO clerk to execute the agreement and any related documents required to implement the program. Discussion?
Madam Mayor, could you find another mover, please?
Pardon?
Could you find another mover, please?
Sure, we could. Bill? Bill Everett. Okay. 2 Ts? Okay. Okay, so moved by Bill Everett and seconded by Susan Irwin. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council received the CAO clerk department update as prepared by the deputy clerk for information. Any discussion on that report? All right, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Dan Meeks, that council receive the report regarding the organizational and service delivery review, phase 1, implementation update for information. We had our meeting with staff and it went well. All those in favor? Carried. And this one is moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council received the sewage system standards bylaw survey results for information, and that the survey results be referred to the septic reinspection advisory committee for review and feedback, and further that staff be directed to complete a full review and analysis of the survey feedback, including comments from the septic reinspection advisory committee, and report back to council at an upcoming meeting. And the date isn't in there, so it'll be when it can get done. Okay, discussion, Susan.
Through Madam Mayor, I believe the date for the next septic reinspection committee is June 15th.
Okay, all right. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill Everett, that council received the May 2026 bylaw enforcement and education activity report as prepared by the bylaw enforcement officer for information. And Nikki is here to answer any questions that we might have. It's been a busy month. Okay, no questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. She's going to move quickly. All right, now we are looking for someone for Recreation Committee and someone for the Charlotte Lake Washroom. And these are both things that Duncan McGregor was involved in. Correct. So we're thinking to split it, to have put Susan on one and you on one. Okay, so Susan will take the rec.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
I've already been a guest at one of the Recreation Committee meetings and I wasn't asked to leave, so that's
That's a good sign. And Bill, you're on the washroom.
So I've been a bit of a disturber, so I've been.
There you go. Okay, so moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill Everett, that Susan,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, sorry, that Susan Irwin be nominated and appointed as chair of the District 3 Recreation Committee for the remainder of the 2022-2026 term of council. I just want to make a comment about the chair part. That is a difficulty in our bylaw in that the councillor who is the chair cannot be the councillor that goes to the Central Frontenac Rec Committee, because then you have all the council folks there and that can be a meeting.
Mhm.
So how do we fix this? Philip, do you have a suggestion?
So it's worked well in District 1. The councillor rep there is their chair and another member attends our meetings and reports back. So
Okay. So that's what will
And I
have to
think-
happen there.
Leslie will probably continue to attend Central Rec. Okay.
I won't tell her you said that. She's not watching, I don't think. Okay. Which one?
When the washroom committee is meeting and where and when?
No,
'Cause
but
I
you
don't-
can call Wayne Robinson and he will fill you in on
Oh.
all those details.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. And the other part, so that's one motion, and then we've got two here.
Mhm.
All those in favor of Susan's appointment? Carried. And the next is moved by Lynn Clegg, second by Nikki Gowdy, that Bill McDonald be nominated and appointed as chair of the Charlotte Lake Washroom Committee for the remainder of 2022-2026 term of council. All those in favor? Carried. All right, committee and correspondence for action, none. Bylaw. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill Everett, that bylaw 2026-27, being a bylaw to amend Schedule A and B of Procurement Policy, bylaw number 2025-50, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 26th day of May. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Lynn Clegg, seconded by Bill McDonald, that bylaw 2026-28 being a bylaw to establish the 2026-2030 Joint Frontenac Compliance Audit Committee for the Township of South Frontenac, Central Frontenac, and North Frontenac and Frontenac Islands, the Limestone District School Board, the Algonquin and Lakeshore Catholic District School Board, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 26th day of May. All those in favor? Carried. No notice of motion. Any giving of notice of motion?
No.
New and other business?
Madam Mayor, I'm going to be working on a motion in regard to trying to submit to the province in regard to having them look at putting passing lanes on Highway 7 in Frontenac County. And I'm just wondering if I should give you, bring that forward here as a notice of motion.
Madam
It's not
Chair.
affecting activities here, it's just asking for them to re-examine that issue.
When did we do that last?
But I checked into that, and your motion was to ask them to put in a stoplight at the end of
Right,
38.
right.
I'm talking about the fact that Frontenac County has no passing lanes, and it's the only county in eastern Ontario that has no passing lanes on Highway 7. And matter of fact, Highway 7 is the only provincial highway we have in this county.
And we know that Arden is a bad area because there's been 2 or 3 fatal accidents there.
Right. So I want to work on that, and I don't know whether I need to give notice of that or just go ahead and do it.
I think you can just simply say that you're working on
Okay.
that motion and bring it next time. right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. New business, National Indigenous Peoples' Day Proclamation, which is June the 21st, brought by Councillor Sue Irwin, 2026-227. Moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Lynn Clakus. Whereas the Township of Central Frontenac recognizes that it's located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation, and where Indigenous people, including the members of Sharbatabatch First Nation and other Indigenous residents within Central Frontenac, have made and continue to make invaluable contributions to the culture, social, environmental, economic, and community life of our region. And whereas June 21st, the summer solstice, holds special cultural and spiritual significance for many Indigenous peoples and has been recognized nationally as National Indigenous Peoples' Day for 30 years. And whereas the Township of Central Frontenac's own strategic plan, official plan, and Charlotte Lake Downtown Revitalization Strategic Plan Action all speak to the importance of inclusion, respectful collaboration, cultural recognition, and partnership with Indigenous communities in shaping the future of the township. And whereas the township recognizes the importance of continuing to build respectful relationships, deepen understanding, and support opportunities for shared dialogue, collaboration, and reconciliation within our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Central Frontenac hereby proclaims June 21st, 2026 as National Indigenous Peoples' Day in the Township of Central Frontenac. And be it resolved that Council encourages residents to recognize, learn about, and celebrate the histories, cultural traditions, and ongoing contributions of Indigenous peoples within our community and across Canada. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. What's that?
She's fine.
Oh, sorry. That was a lot. Don't ask me to read it again.
No, we have an amendment too, as well. Would you, Jody, should I be reading this
Yeah.
amendment right now? Okay, and then I just want to just say a brief, a few words on how this came about. So the amendment, that the motion regarding National Indigenous Peoples' Day be amended to also include the following. And further, that council approve the updated land acknowledgement statement as follows. So right now it says, we would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. We would like to add the following. In particular, we recognize the enduring presence and stewardship of the Indigenous peoples and honor their connection to the lands and waters within Central Frontenac. And further, that Council authorize a National Indigenous Peoples Day flag raising ceremony to be held on June 19th, 2026 at 11 a.m. at the Charlotte Lake Beach in partnership with representatives of the Shabbat Abajuan First Nation. So this came about following Frontenac County Council's approval. And I reached out to staff because we have a significant Indigenous population, and I wanted to recognize our Indigenous neighbors. You can't recognize the Indigenous neighbors without including them in the consultation process. So I was fortunate to be asked to receive an invitation from Chief Doreen Davis and other members of the Shabbat Abajuan First Nation to meet with them. And I'd like to credit our deputy clerk for suggesting the flag raising event and for suggesting that we review with the First Nations our land acknowledgement. There was a feeling that we recognize the territory that we share, but we hadn't recognized the contribution that they had made. So I just want to thank publicly Chief Doreen and members of the Shabbat Abajuan First Nation, firstly for meeting with me, reviewing the contents of this motion, and for generously sharing their time and educating me a little about their culture. There's a lot more to learn. And for walking with the residents of Central Frontenac as we navigate, as our Indigenous neighbors navigate the path towards reconciliation and a trusting partnership together. So it was a very positive meeting and has opened the door for further conversations.
Okay, I just want to add to that we have done the flag raising and the June 21st day as well. So we've actually got a second motion instead of an amendment, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so all those sorry, go ahead, Philip. On this motion first?
First one?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll call the question on the first one. That's the one I read. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now the second one, and that's moved by Susan, seconded by Lynn. And do you want me to read it again? Okay.
Can I ask my question?
Yes, sure.
first?
Go ahead.
So we've not seen the proposed amendment because it wasn't in our package. I'm not opposed to authorizing the flag raising because we have done that in the past, but I would like some time to review the amendment to the land acknowledgement. So I don't know if we can defer that until our next meeting.
We've got till June 19th, I suppose, but let me read it then and you can choose to defer it, okay? Or,
Well, the problem is it's
deal
all
with
lumped
it.
in together now too, though.
well, no, the one's already passed.
No, the flag raising and the changing of the land acknowledgement is all in that motion.
Oh, okay. So what do we want to do? First of all, I have a motion that has been moved and seconded, so I have to read it. So that is that the motion regarding National Indigenous Peoples Day be amended to also include and further that council approve the updated land acknowledgement statement as follows. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land in which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. In particular, we recognize the enduring presence and stewardship of the Indigenous peoples and honor their connection to the lands and waters within Central Frontenac. And further, that council authorize National Indigenous Peoples Day flag raising ceremony to be held June 19th at 11 a.m. at the Charlotte Lake Beach in partnership with representatives from Shabbat Shabat First Nation. Still,
That's a second.
so discussion.
I'd like to defer it, but
Okay, so you want to defer, Lynn?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I just, I'm curious to know what the adjustments that you've made to the statement acknowledging, was that in consultation with them? You came up with the wording and phrasing together, or how did you come about the changes that are being proposed?
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor Plegas, it was a joint initiative of staff, township staff, and the Shabbat Awajawan First Nation.
So basically, the sentence we're adding is recognizing that the presence and stewardship of the Indigenous people and their connection to the land and the water in Central Frontenac, to shorten what's added. Okay,
Else for deferral.
Cindy.
Well, through Madam Mayor, it's not really that part of it that's kind of disturbing. It's the part of it wasn't in our package and discussed before.
Okay. What's that?
As it's in Susan's proposing an amendment to the motion.
It's because
Those are
it's
two separate
an
motions.
amended to the motion. But it's really not, it's not really an amendment. It's a separate motion.
It's a separate motion.
So what we can do, we have time. We can make it a notice of motion. Would that satisfy people tonight? And then deal with it next meeting? That would still be, that would be,
In June.
Yeah, so it's flaggers.
no, is it after?
Yes, it would be.
that's my problem. The flag raising is fine. I just would like us to have some more time to.
Yes.
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor Smith, is your objection the fact that you haven't had the opportunity to receive it in the package, or that you object to the statement?
I don't, well, for starters, yes, it wasn't in the package, but I don't know. We've not had time to review what's in there. I mean, it doesn't sound like it hurts anything, but I don't know that. So,
Okay. Well, the motion is on the floor, so I'm going to call.
so I've asked for a
Okay.
deferral.
Yes.
I know I need a seconder to
Yes.
defer, but
So with no seconder. Okay, to defer. All those in favor to defer? Opposed? Deferral is defeated. So all those in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. All right, that is it for regular council. Now we're going to move into closed session. So moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council resolve into closed session pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act to discuss personal matters about, one, an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, section 239(2)B, and two, litigation or potential litigation, section 239(2)E. All those in favor? Carried.